TGIF fam. Working. Oh my God. Is it working? It's saying, is it working? Welcome, guys. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. Thank goodness it's a Friday. Welcome, fam. I hope the connection is not unstable. The weather's really bad here in Chicago, so hopefully the connection will be stable. That being said, welcome, everyone. Reminder, these are my theories. These are my videos that I make for entertainment purposes only. If you want to disagree, do so in a respectful manner. We don't care here. Okay, I was literally, a lot of us here, myself included, we're in the military. We love when people share their personal opinions, when we disagree. We love freedom of speech. A lot of us here also fought for that right. I love freedom of speech, but be respectful. Once you start being, acting like a toddler, I'm going to block you. That being said, we have a lot to cover. By the way, I want to talk about Hunter Johnson. I want to talk about a lot of things today. Hunter Johnson is always painted as this hero. Hunter Johnson is a hero. Is he a hero? And people are painting Hunter Johnson as a hero because they're saying he's just an amazing young man who entered the crime scene and tried to protect the roommates from the crime scene so that they didn't have to see something so horrific, to spare the feelings of the two surviving roommates. But actually, when we look at the surviving roommates, they're not showing much emotion. I don't see any tears. What I do see is a lot of dramatic sceneries being made by Dylan Morrison and Bethany Funk. So to this day, I don't understand why everyone is painting him as a hero regarding him sparing the feelings of the roommates. What feelings? What feelings, Kellyanne? What feelings, Rosie? What feelings, Nadine? Hey, Nadine, how are you doing? What feelings, MS8114? Right? We are still talking about this case 3 years later because we want the right people behind bars. Hey, SJSU philosopher. That's why we're still talking about this, because let me tell you how much evidence they actually have against Brian Kohberger to this day. A big fat zero evidence. And ladies and gentlemen, again, a lot of you are watching from across the globe. Just so you know, touch DNA is not considered evidence. Just so you know. They have zero actual evidence against Brian Kohberger, and even the touch DNA was gathered illegally, right? Because although they matched whatever DNA they allegedly found on the sheet, allegedly found on some random sheath that was found at some random time, because when we go through the PCA, they're like, and then the sheath was found sometime later. They never tell us when. Just magically appeared sometime later. And they match that to other touch DNA that they found in the trash can. That trash can, ladies and gentlemen, for law enforcement to go into that trash can without a search warrant was actually illegal, which is why Ann Taylor and the defense team fought so hard to get that thrown out, right? Because, it's illegal as F, right? It's illegal. Thank you so much, Johnny. You're still going like a legend. Gotta go, because honestly, if I were in jail, if I were in Brian's shoes, y'all better do the same for me, and I would do the same for you. We literally have to protect each other, because when it comes to the government, and I can tell you as somebody who worked for the military, active duty, was stationed overseas, we will throw people under the bus all the time. So no, we cannot rely on the government. Yes, we have to rely on each other and defend each other. And when we see something effed up, like we see Brian Kohberger being painted as an unaliver, arrested, incarcerated with no actual evidence, that's concerning. And then we are talking about a corrupt police department. We know that this is not the first time that Moscow PD has done something corrupt. I talked about previous cases in the past regarding Moscow Police Department, right? And what happened to the cops that were involved in those cases? Nothing, just a little slap on the wrist. And if you think shit like this doesn't happen, you should be watching the news, babe. You should be watching the news. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I just saw that 2 cops SA'd a woman. And guess what? Guess what? They are not even going to do jail time. They don't even have to do jail time. So if you think that people in law enforcement are all good and are going to be held accountable, yeah, no, babe, I am sorry. They are not being held accountable. Concerning. We also know that we probably never want to go to Moscow because they're going to use every little thing and paint you as a serial unaliver. I mean, you can't even wear gloves to the grocery store because that's one of the first things that was all over the media. Brian Kohberger is obviously a psychopath and a serial unaliver because he's out here in the grocery stores wearing gloves. He's a dangerous man. He must be a sociopath. And look at those incel unaliver eyes. Obviously, you can't tell people who are autistic with their eyes alone, but I guessed from the very get-go that his eyes were probably pointing to the fact that he may be autistic, and then later we find out he was. Okay, those eyes are not the eyes of a socio-psychopath. They're eyes of someone who is on the spectrum, right? And again, I'm not saying you can tell people are on the spectrum, but because I've worked in the field for so long, at this point, I'm like pretty sure. I was pretty sure, and I got it right. And he has other comorbidities, right? Other mental health things like anxiety, OCD, dexterity coordination disorder. We are in Moscow, a town where you never want to take a selfie because what happened with his selfies? They pulled all of them out. They exposed them all to us. And now they're like, look, he took selfies right after the IDAHO4. Oh my gosh. He is obviously a criminal. Oh my gosh. He drove at night. He must be an unaliver. How many of you guys drive at night? I know I have. I know that I personally have gone running, jogging at night back in the day by myself in a large city at 2, 3, 4 in the morning when I could not sleep. Is it safe? No. Does that mean I'm a serial unaliver? Of course it doesn't. And we also know that statistics are not helping Brian Kohberger. Why? Because he's a man. When you are a man driving alone at whatever time of the night, guess what? What did they do? Now you can't even be a man driving around in your vehicle trying to get some fresh air. Why? Because they're going to use it against you, right? They're going to use it against you. And that is exactly what they did. And yes, you're right. They made fun of him, MS8114, because of those selfies. And they were also body shaming him, which is kind of weird and gross, right? Lead prosecutor Bill Thompson admitted they could never place Ninja Brian inside 1122 King Road. Yeah, exactly. They couldn't, right? Brian also had a history of running at night, like myself. And they use that against it. So now we're in Moscow where you can't do anything, apparently. You can't wear gloves. You can't go jogging. You can't go driving at night. You definitely cannot be a criminology student. And we know that he is a neat freak. He is a clean freak, okay? Right? So he keeps his place tidy. Not only that, but he probably sleeps weird hours. It sounds like he sleeps very weird hours. And allegedly he used to vacuum his apartment late at night. That was also used against Brian. Who does that? Who vacuums their floors at 2 in the morning unless they're a serial unaliver? Okay? Just because this place was spotless right before he was heading out for Christmas break doesn't mean that he unalived 4 people, right? He put everything away absolutely perfectly, as I'm sure he typically would. Oh, yeah, his hands are red. I remember that. He has red hands. He has purple hands. Right? What do? They took everything from inside his vacuum, from inside his apartment. They tore his shower apart. They got the drain. They pulled the drain away from this apartment that he was renting just to try to paint him in a very specific way. And of course, what else did he do? Oh, he put his trash can where it belonged. Oh, wow. He separated trash to put it where it belonged. Oh, wow. Serial unaliver. We can't even do that now. We can't even put trash where it belongs because the mainstream and the cops are going to go in that trash and do what? Search it illegally. Search it without a search warrant, which again, by the way, it is illegal. And what did the judge have to say about the illegal search? Nothing. fucking nothing. Okay? We have seen the images of Brian Kohberger walking into the store. He comes across as, in my opinion, very uncoordinated. And we have in his medical record dexterity coordination disorder to back that up as well. Okay. How in the world are they, to this day, tying Brian Kohberger to the IDAHO4? There is nothing except for that. Touch DNA. We know that that white Elantra, like SJSU philosopher says, lacked evidence of foul play or even cleaning. People don't like to hear that, right? And by the way, Ann Taylor most definitely tried to get that illegal search trash DNA thrown out. She most definitely tried. And what did the judge say? Judge said, Brian, no, you have two options, babe. You have two options, Brian. You can either take the chair or the firing squad, or you can plead guilty. That's it. You have two options. That is all. I'm sorry, but people that why isn't he screaming from the rooftops? Bro, you literally have two options. You want the firing squad in the chair, or do you want to be in prison for the rest of your life? I would too. I would think go for prison in life, because at least I have some sort of a chance to try to appeal, try to get the case thrown out, and hope and pray that people are paying attention to what is going on in the world, that they will maybe save me, or hope and pray that someone will come and help me. Right? Reporter goes on national television and asks Bill Thompson questions, very concerning questions that Bill Thompson could not answer. Bill Thompson, why didn't you ask Brian Kohberger any questions regarding the knife or the knife sheath? He had nothing. He had nothing. We have a biased ass fudge judge, right? And he's showing it. He is showing his bias to the world. Reminder, judges are not supposed to be biased, even if they are, right? Everyone is technically biased, but they're not supposed to show it. They are not supposed to allow their bias to get in the way and affect how people perceive Brian Kohberger or the entire case or the entire trial. But no, this judge is speaking up, saying he basically believes that Brian Kohberger is guilty. How, sir? We haven't even heard one peep from Brian Kohberger. What are you going by? Because every time that Ann Taylor and the defense team questioned you, you kind of had nothing to say. So, guys, going forward, what have we learned? I guess don't take pictures on your phone. Definitely don't take selfies. That's going to be used against you. Don't drive alone at night. Don't take photos. Don't take photos at all. Don't take photos of the sky. Don't take photos of your drive. Don't take photos. Don't take selfies. Because you know what? They need to pin a crime on you. That's what they're going to say. Well, look, this person took selfies. Well, let's talk about the girl who actually got a golden fucking ticket, Bethany Funk. We don't talk a lot about her, do we? We like to, for whatever reason, most of us YouTubers like to focus on Dylan Mortensen because of her ties to weird activities. But Bethany Funk, the lady that did not want to go back to Idaho because she was afraid to be arrested. Okay. But they basically gave her a golden ticket and said, well, you can come back and we won't arrest you. You can come back. You can come back. And guess who was actually taking fucking pictures on her phone at 8:41 in the morning? Guess who actually was taking pictures? Not Brian Kohberger. It was actually Bethany Funk. She was taking pictures. Why aren't we focusing on Bethany Funk? Okay, 8:41 a.m. was well before the 911 call was made. Dylan Morrison, we talked about her yesterday. The entire fucking time she was on Instagram, Snapchat, on Indeed. For fuck's sake, she was on Indeed. She texted her father. And no, she didn't say, hey, Dad, oh my gosh, help me. I don't know what's going on inside this house. Help me. No, she didn't ask for help. Interesting, right? So they liked to paint this narrative from the get-go that this man, who comes across, in my opinion, is kind of a little bit silly, a little bit goofy, the most definitely autistic, Brian, that he was able to enter this house he had never been into, 1122 King Road, and unalived 4 people. He was a 6-foot tall man who had never been in this house, multiple floors, multiple stories, 4 people in there. 6 people if you count Bethany and Dylan, right? And not only that, but also a giant male, Ethan Chapin. He was this confident. He just walked into the house, unalived people, knew where all the victims were at, did what he needed to do, got out of there, right? This vegan that was afraid of hurting animals, that was queasy and would get sick at the sight and the smell of red fluid. Yeah. That he allegedly just magically went in there. There were over 100 plus stab wounds and experimental wounds, and people had cracked skulls, people were carved into. And then not only that, but he had time to go in there and clean up everything. He had time to clean up the entire fucking crime scene, of course. No blood trail up the stairs, down the stairs, going out the sliding door that allegedly Dylan Morrison said she saw him leave. Nothing. And Moscow Police Department and all of their sketchy friends, what have they told us this whole time? Nothing ever happens in Moscow. Nothing ever happens in Moscow. When in fact, that's a damn lie. We already know that is a damn lie, okay? Just 6 months prior to the IDAHO4, Kaylee's alleged fling, Hudson, do you guys remember Hudson Lindau? 19 years old, a young man, 19 years old, a swimmer, happens to drown in a fucking creek. And guess who found Hudson? Chief Fry, of all fucking people. But things like this never happen in Moscow. And guess what? They ruled it no foul play. Even if, let's say, we are to assume that he was maybe heavily intoxicated. This is just an assumption. Even if he were heavily intoxicated, guess what? Everyone knew that he was coming home from a frat party. So the frat should have been held accountable. But instead, Chief Fry and Co. ruled it as no foul play. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Hi, Jasper. Okay. Again, this is alleged. I'm not 100% positive. I am not able to verify that Kaylee actually had a relationship with Hudson, but it is a common rumor if you have been looking into this case. And if so, there may be some sort of strange connection to this case here, right? So, hello, Joyful Dolphin. So now I just have to wonder if anything regarding Kaylee has anything to do with all these other guys. Maybe Kaylee didn't want to be with anymore or something, right? Remember, Kaylee was already on her way out of the state. She was already on her way to Texas. She was on her way to Texas. She had basically dumped Jack Decor. She, in my opinion, wanted nothing to do with him. And Jack Decor is out here like, we were going to be together one day. And Kaylee's parents are like, they were going to marry one day. Maybe. They were going to marry one day. My potatoes. Can you guys come with my potatoes? I don't want to burn them. So, yeah. We can't just pretend that this shit doesn't happen in Moscow. It's been happening, okay? Okay, and what did we hear in that footage? What did you tell Adam? Some of the last things that we heard there, okay? some of the last things that we heard there. What did you tell Adam? Okay. Don't get me started on Adam, the bouncer that happened to be there. Okay. And how convenient that Adam and Jack DeCore happen to be roommates. Huh. Interesting. We have Dylan Morrison giving her award-winning performance, saying that, I thought I saw the man leave. I thought I saw a man leave a masked intruder. But you didn't call the cops, bitch. I'm sorry. You didn't call the cops? You just went on Indeed, right? Because that makes more sense. Right? Oh my gosh, it was Brian. He was so creepy, that incel. And then you guys are, not you guys, but the guilters are like, well, Hunter Johnson is just so amazing. He is such a fucking hero. He's the hero. He spared the feelings of the roommates. Fucking hero. Really? Because I find him kind of creepy. Don't get me started on the documentaries, guys, because the documentaries, very creepy. Hunter and his girlfriend, in my opinion, body language, very creepy. Spare them feelings? Really? Really? Is that why you showed up there? And that's supposedly why you didn't let the girls go to the crime scene? Because you wanted them to not see anything gruesome and to spare them feelings? What feelings? Because those girls are not crying. Not one person is fucking crying. Not one person is fucking crying. Then we have the DoorDash account that wasn't even confirmed. And by the way, I've seen DoorDash orders before. I've ordered from DoorDash before. Isn't it a little bit strange that they wrote their name on a Post-it note? Because I've never seen that before. On a Post-it note, I could see it on a bag when they write the name directly on the bag. But on a Post-it, that's awkward. A lot of us here have worked on the food industry. It's like on the food order or maybe a stapled receipt. It's not on a damn Post-it. This is DoorDash. And it looks like it's written with a black marker. And when we look at the pictures of the crime scene, there happens to be a black marker there, right? Isn't there a black marker in one of the crime scene photos? Molly's getting texted from a customer at 3:54 in the morning. Are you in trouble finding it? Are you in trouble finding it? 3:51 in the morning, Dylan Morrison is adding a new contact. Who was she adding? Right? We have Dylan Morrison, who didn't hear 100+ stab wounds, but she heard Murphy barking. She heard someone go up and down the steps. She heard Kaylee's name brand shoes. Right? She gave us the name of the shoes. Were they not Doc Martens? You heard a fucking name, or you heard her shoes, and you knew what type of shoe. Probably Doc Martens. But you didn't hear 100+ stab wounds. Really? Really, Dylan? Really? TGIF, Kalina. She was so scared, so intoxicated. She willingly stayed in that house for hours on end with bodies that were brutally unalived, carved, concussioned. No one ever mentions the smell of red fluid or feces or urine, which would be expected after 8+ hours of the bodies just laying around. No one mentions that. Not even the paramedics make any remarks. We're supposed to believe that Hunter Johnson just magically appeared there. The same Hunter Johnson that heard or had a feeling. He had a feeling, right? To get up and close the door and lock the door. He just had this intuition. I'm not buying it, but that's just me. The same Hunter Johnson that had enough time to go check on the house and then also grab a knife and do all of this. And then when the cops enter, they never ask him really to put the knife down. All right. What a hero. What a hero, Hunter Johnson. The same hero that didn't have enough time to go check the other floor, the third floor, where Kaylee and Maddie were at. The same hero, Hunter Johnson, that said Kayla, Kaylee, Kaylay, K-Bay. I don't know how many times they've changed her name here. Come on, her name was Kaylee, and you knew it. We have seen footage of Hunter Johnson exiting 1122 King Road with Kaylee when the cops are at their house for that noise complaint. So why are you pretending you don't fucking know her, bro? You're creepy as hell. You're creepy as hell. And I know people are like, but you shouldn't judge. We're not judging. We're not even saying that he was involved. We're saying that his behavior is very abnormal. It's very suspicious, and it should be questioned. That I personally find it a little bit sickening that people are making him out to be this hero who spared the roommates' feelings when the roommates have no feelings to show for. The only feelings that we are catching in the footage is Dylan saying, and this and that happened, and the only feeling that we get from Bethany Funk is like, so am I gonna be like able to like go home for like Thanksgiving? Cause like, you know, those feelings. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Guys, it's Friday. TGIF. No mention of Ethan during the 911 call. I was so drunk I didn't see anything. But you were able to text without any typos, right? And you were able to call all these people and Kalo. Yeah, you know, all these names. Anyway, guys, I'm done yapping for the day. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Keep your eyes open because there's a lot more to come out. I am still revising so many of the new unredacted documents, guys. We are still working our regular jobs, so please bear with me. If you guys have any information you want to share regarding this case or any topics you want me to talk about regarding this case, reach out to me on Instagram. Instagram is typically in the description of every video, guys. By the way, a lot of you have told me that a lot of you follow me on Instagram, that when you're trying to get a hold of me on Instagram, it sometimes shows like I am active, but sometimes I am not. It just shows that way. It's a known bug on IG. So thank you guys for following me. I will try to stay up to date with this case and stay up to date on Instagram for all of you who are trying to reach out to me. And I'm going to have this 1,000 calories of potatoes fresh out the oven. Wish me luck. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.